I hope you're having a great summer so far. I am so excited to be paint pals with you, and I look forward to reading all about your summer plans and what you've been up to. This is going to be so much fun. I put together a quick and easy tutorial just to get you started on creating your own postcard, but you don't have to do this at all. You can just use it for an inspiration, or you can do it exactly as I do it. You can follow along with me. That's up to you as the artist on how you want to create your own. You're gonna get 5 different postcards in your kit. 3 are going to be cardstock, and you can use marker on those cardstocks or pen or color pencil. It's got a smooth surface, so you can do anything with those. Then I'm going to be sending you 2 watercolor postcards, and those are strictly for watercolor because they have a texture to them. And so in this project, you're going to see me do watercolor and then a marker option. So let's get started. All right, so this is going to be one of our easier projects to do, something a little bit quick and easy, and nonetheless beautiful. All right, so this is our end result, but let's get started on how to create that. So the first thing, like always, is we're going to start with our pencil. You can use your watercolor thicker postcard paper for this if you intend to use watercolor, but you certainly don't have to. You can do cardstock. My original one was done with cardstock, so it just curls the paper a little bit if you try to use watercolor on it, but it doesn't really matter. So the materials that I have today are marker, and those you can use any color that you want. In any brand, it does not matter, just use what you have. This is what I have at home, but it can be Crayola, it can be any kind of marker that you have. Just a regular pencil, an eraser, of course I like my white erasers, and then any color, any type of watercolor that you have. Again, doesn't matter. If you choose not to use watercolor, then you won't need that. So we're going to get started with just a simple line, and I will, as you can see, move my paper around as I work. That's something that's very important. It's a lot easier to do if you're moving your paper back and forth. That way you're not having to move your hand as much. So I'm just going to start at the top corner with my paper tilted and just draw a line that kind of goes curvy from one corner to the next. And then I'm going to start with my first leaf. And I'm just going to come around here like that. Okay, so now you start to see the leaf forming. And then again, I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to put another one right here. You can make your leaves whatever size, whatever shape. Does not matter where you put them. You're the artist, so you can decide. So I'm going to start another one right there. And as you can see, I'm starting at the stem and I'm just looping all the way around. Okay? We're going to go back and add detail to it later, so don't worry about that. So I think I'm going to do another one right here, and I'm just going to come up. That one's a little curvy. That's okay. They can be tiny or big, but you definitely want to fill in the paper, as much as possible. I think I need another one right there on that side. All right, I think I'm going to let that be it for now. All right, so now we're going to come in and we're going to draw a line down the middle of each leaf. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. You know what I say in class, don't worry about your mistakes. Those tend to be your best ideas sometimes, so you can always make it work or erase it. See, this one's a little flat in my opinion, but that's okay. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to make it work. All right, so now we're going to add some of the detail to each leaf. And this is kind of an abstract piece of art. and everything. So if you have a black regular tip Sharpie, that's going to be your best tool for this project, especially if you use watercolor later on. So if you have any type of permanent black marker would be your best bet. If you choose just to keep it all marker, then you can use a black Crayola or any kind of black marker. So I'm just going to now just follow my original lines. Now I'm going to go over and give my whole design one continuous line around all of it. Now, as I say that though, I'm noticing I got a little close to my edge here. When you are working on yours, if yours is too close to the edge, you can just go off. In fact, I'm gonna do this in pencil first, just so I don't make a mistake that I can't erase. So I'm going to, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this line that I'm tracing around the perimeter, the contour of my shape is what I'm talking about now. So I'm just in one continuous line. I'm not gonna pick up my pencil. I'm just gonna go all the way around. Kind of like if you were tracing your hand. And we've done that in one of my classes before. Now here's where I got too close. I'm just gonna let it go off the page right there. And I'm gonna pick it back up here. And I'm gonna pick it back up here. So if you did that too, that's okay. All right, there's my continuous line. Now I'm gonna trace over it with my Sharpie. Let's see, I like to pick it up and kind of look at it. All right, so now I'm gonna add some detail with some dots. So I'm just going to go in and this gives a little texture, gives a little pattern. Let's see. I feel like I need a few, maybe there. How's that? All right, so now we're ready for color. I'm gonna start with marker for my leaves. For each one, I'm gonna do a series of 3 different colors. And then I'm gonna go back in the background with watercolor. Now, if you don't have watercolor or you're doing this on cardstock and you don't want to use watercolor, you would just leave your background blank, okay? But before I do that, I do see some pencil marks. I'm just gonna quickly erase because I don't want them showing up too much. Just a quick wash. Okay. All right, so we're gonna add in some marker. And I think I'm gonna start with my blue in the bottom. Now, I'm not gonna get real technical with this because I kind of like it when a little bit of white shows. Whatever color combination. do the last ones. This orangey color. This is like a bright orange. Reminds me of like a basketball color. Oops. Okay. Notice I'm going in the contour, going in the direction of where my strokes are. So if you want a curved stroke, then do your brush strokes that way. All right, so now I'm gonna work on my background. I'm gonna leave this, I'm choosing to leave this white, but if you wanna fill yours in, that's okay. So I'm using just a spray bottle and my watercolor. You can use a water cup if you want. I just like the control of what the water does. So maybe like, what color do I want to use? Maybe like a hot pink. So I'm gonna just spray, my water, of course, it's not wanting to work. I'm gonna spray that. I always like to keep a paper towel on hand so that I can dab off. With watercolor, it's very forgiving. If you mess up, you can clean it off really easily. All right, so now I'm just gonna go and fill in but you can always get in there and clean it up a little bit if you mess up. And you know what? If there's a little mess up, that's okay. You can also dab it just to give a little texture too. Okay, so here I'm gonna show you another option, just using the cardstock and actually the watercolor paper. And so this, you can do your design on the cardstock using marker, and you can do this design, or you can do something completely different. And what I'm gonna do for this is I'm going to cut it out right at the edge that I created. And see how I'm turning the paper? I'm using my other hand, my non-dominant hand, to move the paper around the edges. That just helps me get in there, kind of like driving it, so that all my little corners and crevices that I need to cut out, I can get in there with the scissors. Okay, so there's my piece. Now I have already watercolored on the back of my postcard. You can do this completely solid. I just did a thin line of a watercolor stripe, and then I watercolored the whole thing. And now what I'm gonna do is glue that onto my background. And I don't have glue sticks here at my house. They're all in my cabinet at school. All right, so I want to make sure that the glue is all around the edges, because we don't want any gaps in the edges when we glue it down, because it's going to have to go through the post office. So just make sure that you push all the outline edges down nice and tight. Okay. So now you can see that there's no paper sticking up at all. There's no raised edges. Nice and flush. All right, so there's the other option for our postcard. Here's our original, and there's the marker option.